Tag show. Tag show. That's gonna leave a mark, Taylor.
That's only speed because I'm in the speed.
Let's head over to the pit.
It was hot, like really hot. Like attractive but hot too.
Okay.
Alrighty, week 10 ratings. I know I had told you when we were discussing this a couple of weeks. Let's stop.
Talk about the ratings.
Yeah, but I felt it was important for us to put it in here. AEW saw an increase from last week,
Right.
but they saw a slight edge against NXT by 7,000. So the final numbers were 851,000 for AEW, where NXT came in at 845,000. I felt like NXT did a poor job.
Of following up.
Their big weekend, you know what I mean? Obviously, that week they saw an increase because it was just a hot, weekend for them, but they failed to keep the momentum, and I felt that this week as well. You know what I mean? Like, okay, these are Keith Lee, this person, that person. You got to keep coming at them.
Right.
So I do expect in the next couple of weeks for NXT to
take a little,
especially since you have a couple of championship matches. But I think one thing that they are doing a good job at is if, like, Rhea Ripley's hot, right? And Keith Lee is hot. So then that means, let's push them, right? Because that's what's hot. It's not like, oh, okay, we have our own agenda where we want to push, I don't know.
Finn.
Exactly. And he's not the current hot person. So I think they're doing a good job in that sense. But they got to really, it's a war, you got to really take it to AEW. So that's why I kind of wanted to mention the ratings.
And another thing about last week ratings is that, first of all, it was the night before. Yeah, it was the night before Thanksgiving. Like, people were getting ready, like cooking. Like, I was
I didn't
prepping
watch
food
because
and,
I was
or
at
Friendsgivings and stuff like that. So when they calculated the DVR numbers, they're around the same amount as they are right now, basically. Like you said, coming off a hot week, NXT rolled that high. AEW had a bad week, and I think they felt it. And that's the thing about them; they're learning to adjust. So it's interesting. I like these numbers, and again,
I just feel also numbers are good. I just feel like from the perspective of AEW, I keep mentioning this, like, the wrestling is great. I don't think there's an issue in that sense, but it's just putting everything together. It just feel like, okay, what was the purpose of, who did the Young Bucks face again?
Young Bucks and Dustin Rhodes faced the Inner Circle.
Yeah, the Inner Circle. I mean, I know there's a feud kind of like with the Elite in Inner Circle, but it's just like, where's the correlation? I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these matches...
the correlation comes from, again, they're battling each other, where Dustin Rhodes is trying to get back at Jake.
Yeah, you're right.
Hager.
Yeah. But for that matter...
And then the tag teams are facing each other.
But then, Jack, Hager, whatever, he's still not really doing anything. He's like being used as a muscle.
Right.
So I'm just I feel like they're picking at straws on, like, what's going to work together. Like, same thing with Moxley. Like, okay, he's going to face Joey Janela, but it's just like, I mean, I guess that happens in WWE too, right? You move from one feud to the next, but I just think the fluidity is not necessarily working for AEW right now. But like you said, you just still got to give it time. It's the first time that they're doing TV, what works and what doesn't work. I didn't like, a lot of people did, I didn't like the whole dig that AEW took with the whole Britt Baker thing in the crowd. Like, it is funny, but it's like, yo, all right, like, y'all got to worry about y'all own stuff. Like, talk your shit when your ratings is 1 million, 2 million, but not when you're struggling to, like, get a good edge on the competitor. That's just my opinion.
It's good to have fun sometimes.
I understand it's to have
that's
fun, but
that's their point.
I understand, but if it's not translating into numbers, like, yo, have fun, but worry about your own shit. Like
Here's the thing. That moment, people are talking, right?
Yeah, but is that going to translate to next week where you're blowing NXT out the water? That's my thing. Have fun, talk your shit, but you got to back it up, and you're not necessarily backing it up because it's not like the arena is being sold out either.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, it's not a knock on AEW, but I feel like worry about your own thing. And when you're on and popping, like for real, then talk your shit.
I mean, it was just a fun moment. Like, I know when you.
It's so fun. I'm not being a Debbie. I'm not like humbug. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know if you saw it, but we saw it. We just like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. But it was on NXT War Games. We was like, we saw. I don't know how did y'all see it on the big screen?
No.
I don't know if you watched it back.
I didn't get the chance to watch it back. I know, but they said, Adam Cole, but they didn't say, Britt Baker from AEW. They just said that's his girlfriend.
Yeah, but that's what they made fun of. But again,
I know what they were making fun of. That's why I said, like,
yeah,
talk your shit when you got 1 million, or more people watching. But
Tripp talked about it.
Did he? What did he say?
He said that it was the producer wasn't aware that she was part of another promotion.
Oh.
He just saw the face reaction and told the camera to go there.
Yeah.
And then when he went there, that's when he told him, like, no.
Oh.
Like, no.
I don't even think it's a big thing. Like, it's like, like whatever. Like, you showed the man's girlfriend. That's his girlfriend. Like, I don't like whatever.
You know how WWE is. They don't like to cross promote.
Well, AEW doesn't either, apparently. Anyway, you wanted to discuss this next topic.
Yeah, and then NWA
you
praised.
have a timer going on for this? Because we said...
No, we didn't put no timer for this.
Oh, yeah, remember 20 minutes. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Of course you did. Go ahead.
Hey, don't start.
Hey, go ahead.
Don't start.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so season 1 finale of NWA Power, NWA praised Jim Cornette during their broadcast, thanked him for his support and his 30-year contribution in wrestling. Here's my thing. If you're letting this guy go for saying the wrong thing during the broadcast and you airing it, how then the following week you give him praise like he did something right and like you're just like sending him off with high regards and pomp and circumstance and you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I agree. I feel you.
How you have him apologize, you make him resign, and then you're like, yeah, thank you for your service and such a great commentator and
Well, no, I can't even. I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt and play devil's advocate. I'm like, well, this was probably recorded previously, but then no, that doesn't make sense. And even if it was, you could have edited.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a dumb move, especially when that bad publicity that you got and people like, yo, fuck NWA, I'm not watching this anymore. That was a wrong move.
And his poor excuse was, oh, he wasn't making a racist comment. It was just to show hunger. So you just picked fried chicken.
It's not funny, but it's just so funny to like
food
the ignorance.
strapped to his back. You can say food strapped. You said fried chicken.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a man that's grown up in those type of times where just and you can't even make that excuse because you have people now that say ignorant shit, racial, ignorant shit. But whatever, like that's not something I'll be watching.
Nah, a lot of people said they're turning away from this.
But on a positive note, John Morrison is back with the WWE. I forgot how his theme song went, but you gotta put the slow motion and all that, and the pyro in the back. I hope they bring that back. They better not change his character.
They have to.
But if they put him on NXT, he won't get that.
Yes, he will.
The pyro?
Oh no, not the pyro. They'll probably give us some smoke.
Maybe some smoke. Maybe smoke in slow motion. But what do you think about that?
I'm good with that. It's been a while since he's been in the WWE. Hopefully, some people still remember him.
A lot of people do that. That's all anyone could talk about.
I mean, remember, this is a younger crowd now.
People know him. It was definitely a hot topic on social media.
My thing is, what do you want him to land? Do you want him on Raw, SmackDown, or
NXT. Because I'm just afraid. Like you just hear all the stuff, and it may not be true. Because listen, if it was such a bad place to go, then people wouldn't continue to sign with WWE.
I mean, you saw what Tommaso Ciampa said.
No, but what he said wasn't the reason because of anything about the main roster. It just said he said the schedule, and I believe that.
Yeah.
The man had with neck injuries, and never mind. We'll get into that because that's the next topic. But I think at this particular moment, NXT needs star power. Raw and SmackDown is overflooded, in my opinion, with superstars that they're not even really utilizing anyway. He doesn't need to get lost in the shuffle, so I think he should go to NXT.
Did you hear this? This I forgot to tell you to put this in here. You hear that WWE is really about to release a lot of people in the top of the year?
I mean, as they should. If people aren't being utilized and if people aren't happy, why are you holding on to them?
So they're thinking about just saying, all right, whoever wants to.
As they should. I don't even know why it's a thing where, like, if you're not using, if they're not happy, you're not using them. That's less money that you have to pay someone. More of your resources can be to the stars that you have that you want to push or should be pushed. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. Let the other people go where they need to go and be happy.
Let my people go.
So, but besides John Morrison coming back, we have a couple of returns. Alexa Bliss came back from injury, and it looks like Sheamus is set to return. What do you think?
And also Elias. You forgot about
Elias. I forgot about. I knew it was somebody else. SmackDown needed it.
Yeah, they needed it. Alexa Bliss came out of nowhere.
I don't think it came out of nowhere because she was on social media like
complaining about coming back.
No. What I meant to say was that she was coming, like she was working out.
Oh, I don't follow her.
We follow her on the Mixed Tag Show, but you don't really be like looking through stuff. So
yeah, I just posted and talked to some of our listeners, and then I disappeared. I don't even look through my story. If you know, I'm terrible on Instagram. Me and my girlfriend was talking about this. Like, we both have to do better on our Instagram. Mm-hmm. We don't hardly post up anything. You don't post up anything either.
I haven't. Hold your horses. Hold your horses, buddy.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, but it's going off topic. I think it's good it bolsters up SmackDown's roster, especially because they need it. I'm excited about Sheamus, and he got his old look. I just want his old theme back. It's a shame.
Here's what I'm scared of. They put the bar back together.
Fella!
I'm afraid they put the bar back together.
I hope not. I think Sheamus... I think they need a lot of single stars right now, wrestlers. So I hope that when Sheamus does officially come back, it's a singles run. Yeah,
and also Elias came back, and... Oh.
So moving on to Tommaso.
Wow.
I mean, Elias is back. Yeah, like I said, it's great.
You don't want a Christmas special?
Tommaso Ciampa, in regards to what we were discussing, he was on Lillian Garcia's podcast, Chasing Glory, and he mentioned about being on the main roster. He said he would retire. He would love to be a coach or like a producer if he actually did get called up to the main roster. I didn't see anything wrong with that. It didn't sound like he was saying anything in regards to the main roster.
I mean, you're not going to bash the company you work for. I'm not saying that that's the case here. I was just joking earlier, to be honest. Yeah, I could see that. Like you said, he had multiple neck surgeries.
I don't know if it was multiple, but he had neck surgery.
He had leg surgery. He's not that young.
Yeah.
So that's probably like... that's the schedule that he wants. And then as an agent, you don't have to be in the ring every night. So
yeah, and for NXT, you literally work that Wednesday. Or if they do like live shows, but it's all in Florida.
Right.
Really, they very rarely
go anywhere.
I mean, they do, but it's not like as prominent and often as how the main roster does. But I agree. You see time and time again people who have neck injuries. It's a very murky thing for them in the sense of whether they can continue to perform. So I agree. If that's a lesser schedule will help you prolong your career,
right?
I say go for it.
AEW commercial bashing NXT was reportedly not AEW's idea. According to Dave Meltzer, the decision to air the commercial was the idea of TNT, not AEW. I didn't see this commercial.
I didn't either, but I was just, when I was looking at like hot topics, it piqued my interest. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that it was AEW or it wasn't, but like talk your shit when you're in the position to talk your shit. I mentioned this to you before a few weeks ago. Huh?
Do you know what the commercial said?
I was reading it, but like I didn't put, or something about the best show, better than something, and I don't know. I don't think it's really important. But again, Talk your shit when you're in the position to talk your shit. I told you this weeks ago, and I felt like you downplayed that when I said a lot of people are turned off by every other second you see pro wrestling tees or Matt and Nick saying something about how the WWE shirts are and this and that. It's like you were at Comic-Con, you were talking your shit then. It was just like you kept talking all this shit, but it's not really translating into success. So I just feel like, again, whoever's in charge of that commercial or did put it out, worry about your own product. When you are in the position to be arrogant, then be arrogant, but you're really not in the position.
All I said was, I'm not saying that, they don't overdo it, but that's what brought them to the dance. And you're going to keep doing it till you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, but what brought you to, but it's kind of like booking, right? It's like, for example, like Becky, right? The analogy that I'm trying to bring is like, Becky's the hottest thing, right? When she became the man and this and that and the third. But that's what brought her to the dance, right? But if you constantly keep having her win and not look weak and this and that and the third, and others doesn't get opportunities, they're gonna slowly turn on her, right? Yeah. So it's the same situation. Like, yeah, cool, by talking your shit and performing well got you to the dance, but now it's like, okay, what else do you have to offer? Well,
speaking of AEW, Big Swole has officially signed AEW, confirmed by Fightful.
Yes, and also AEW, someone else was signed. I think another woman.
Statlander.
Yes.
That's the one that won the match.
Yeah, so that was...
they're building the roster.
They're building the roster, so let's see. Like, again, they're building the roster, but let's see how they utilize that division.
Get Mercedes Martinez. What are you waiting on?
She's not signed by them?
No, I don't think so.
Got to check on that. Anyway, but another signing AEW has is they signed a pay-per-view deal that will go into 2021 with In Demand. So their plans are to have 4 yearly shows, pay-per-views. Right. So I think that's a dope thing.
Yeah, it's like a homage, like not homage, but it's kind of like similar to how WWE started as well. They started with
the Royal Rumble, Mania,
SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and then they started doing 2 pay-per-views a month, and that didn't go too well with people. Yes. So now they're back to 12, 13.
Yeah,
they do 13 about
13 or 14 because you got to calculate the 2 Saudi shows. Anyway, but I think that's a good thing. Helps them with more revenue. I hope, like, again, they can find like a streaming service and make it super easy to watch their stuff.
What do you mean in terms of?
Yeah, like the WWE Network, right? That's how you watch.
You mean like their catalog type of thing?
Yeah, because
it's kind of hard because WWE owns like all of the catalog.
No, and I understand, but AEW needs a streaming service that someone can stream to so we can watch it.
Yeah, she's not signed yet.
Okay. So, yeah. But that's good for them. Shout out to them. Moving on, Kofi Kingston and The New Day were recently on Corey Graves' podcast After the Bell, and they discussed the whole Kofi Mania thing and Daniel Bryan and their reaction to when he lost it to Brock and this and that and third. I didn't put the quote in regards to the whole losing him to Brock Lesnar, but basically the whole thing with Kofi Mania and getting a WrestleMania shot, Kofi had said in regards to Daniel Bryan, he pushed for that to happen because the plans weren't for me to be at WrestleMania. Daniel went in and went to bat for me in the situation for the title match between us to happen.
I believe that. Daniel Bryan is a stand-up guy.
I was gonna say, Daniel Bryan's a stand-up guy, and it's just, and it sucks though that even through all of that Kofi Mania, you still wasn't gonna put Kofi in that position.
Right.
And it's, that's pretty wild, And imagine that didn't happen. We wouldn't have. That was like probably the best moment that happened in Mania. You know what I mean? Right. It would have been a regular ass show, but it was just a movement. It was a beautiful thing that we got to witness.
Right.
It sucks, unfortunately, that his title reign ended the way it did, and Big E wasn't happy with it. He was actually said he was more angry than Kofi, but it just shows the type of person Kofi is. Right. He looks at the bigger picture, which shout out to him because that was Because it was like, I wasn't mad like everyone else was, because I was like, okay, well, maybe there might be something
Down the line.
that would happen, and they did absolutely nothing. And even when people was like, oh, they saw how Kofi was like, remember when they were talking about it, I think with Heavy Machinery in that one promo, and he kind of like squished the pancakes in his hand.
Pancakes.
Yeah, but it didn't do anything
It didn't
with
correlate
it.
to anything at all.
You know, so it's
dope.
unfortunate.
Even if it turned into a New Day heel turn,
Yeah.
it would have been dope.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen New Day as a heel like in like how many years?
Yeah. They're just super over. And that's a team that you don't get tired of.
Yeah, and shout out to them. They got their podcast that launched this past week too.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
I haven't either, but yeah, shout out to them. So yeah, Samoa Joe staying on commentary.
Yeah, as we're at WWE, Dio Madden won't be returning to commentary. He'll be going back into the Performance Center.
The Performance Center.
To get back into training, to go back in the ring, and Samoa Joe's going to be on commentary to his thumb heels.
It just seems so weird, like his thumb. That's why he's not performing.
You do a lot with your thumb.
I understand, but you know, my man's Adam Cole is out here with a fractured ass wrist, and he out here killing himself. Not to say Joe ain't tough either, but I'm just like, anyway, going off topic. That's cool and all because Joe is fire.
He's pretty good on
You know, I could see that's something that he really dabbles in once his career is over.
Right.
My only gripe is Joe's thumb heals. He gets back into the ring. Dio, if it pans out for him as a wrestler,
he's not coming back.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have Jerry, who just does not have it anymore.
You know they re-signed him?
Anyway, it's not working with Jerry on commentating. Why isn't Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton not on Raw? Like that would literally that would work for Raw. You didn't get the chance to watch Starrcade?
No.
It
was messing up for me. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, it was messing up for a lot of people. But they were really, really dope on commentating.
Who, Tom Phillips and who?
And Byron Saxton.
What they do with Byron?
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, these are two people that you can, like, they're young, they're knowledgeable, they had a good rapport.
They might bring Saxton back because Dio Madden is not coming back.
And what they needed someone that's like of color on
yeah,
commentating.
All
right, I'm just saying, like,
you
damn.
Know the deal.
On that note, well, good. They should bring him back. And Tom Phillips, there's a lot said about my man.
There was a stretch in 2012, 2013, I want to say. Maybe 2013, maybe 2014, where I started picking up that every time a colored, like a African-American wrestler was wrestling, it was an African-American ref.
You told me that.
And I was like, yo, this is not coincidence.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to realize that they just pair up people that's like comfortable with each other inside the ring.
But lastly, we're going to move on to our curtain call.
Yep.
So the question that I posed to you, because again, like I mentioned earlier, it was such a like hot topic, and even Corey Graves discussed this on his podcast. Should WWE give Charlotte Flair, that is, a break, or like she should go on a little hiatus?
She went on a hiatus last year.
See, when though? Because and then shout out to Jaquan too, because we were having this conversation, because he said that she had a little break this year too, and I'm like, not really. She was gone after Money in the Bank. She had a couple of matches, and even though she wasn't on TV until, like, I want to say sometime in July, she was having dark matches and still performing live events.
Last year, she had the break when she had to get her.
She had a break because of an injury. If she didn't have a break because if she didn't get injured, she still would have been utilized.
No, she wasn't injured. She had to get.
I'm gonna call it an injury. That's
okay.
just what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was she was out due to injury. So again, it wasn't that, okay, we have nothing for her type thing. Let's reset on Charlotte and then bring her back. It's kind of been just.
And to the point of that is like, of course she's like not motivated. Of course she's jaded. She done accomplished everything already.
And I said this again.
Like, she done won a title 10 times.
I told Jaquan I'm gonna put him on blast. My man said that, ever since she's she's in love now. That's why she's not performing. I'm like, yo,
Nah.
that's not. He eventually came to his senses, but besides that, yeah, this is the same thing I said. How if you literally accomplish everything, you're a 10-time champion. You've been in every big match.
Been a main event for WrestleMania.
Main evented in WrestleMania when you technically shouldn't have even been it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only thing she left is for the tag team titles. I don't think she care about that.
And she's just doing it to, just go through the motions.
coasting.
And this is what Corey Graves said. Like, this is the first time, and I don't think this is true, but he said this is the first time where it feels like Charlotte's not a big thing. I'll argue that statement. I want to say we can talk like last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think she needs a break. What can you possibly write for her right now that'll have like the fans be like, yo, this damn. Like I said, with this past match against the Kabuki Warriors, this is literally the first time I was like, you know what? This is dope. And I haven't said that in a while for a Charlotte match.
Right.
Maybe the last time might have been was maybe TLC with the match between her, Becky, and Asuka.
Oh, no. Okay.
And then she had the Survivor Series match with Ronda and then with Becky. So there's, the thing
Evolution.
the thing is with Charlotte, she's a fantastic superstar. She's one of the better women wrestlers. But I feel like she only gets motivated when it's like
Her peoples.
not even her people's. It's a big match, and it shouldn't be that. Like, if you're literally the best women's wrestler, then this match against, I don't know, Lacey Evans should be like, yo, I'm gonna show out. Again, this is about Charlotte, but I gotta bring Sasha real quick into it. It was that tag team match on SmackDown like a month or 2 months ago. It was Charlotte and Carmella versus Bayley and Sasha.
Right.
It wasn't a great match by any means, but like there was, I think Carmella did like a super kick or something, and then Sasha sold it like it was fucking sweet chin music. You know what I mean? No matter the competitor, it's like I'm gonna go all out and make you look good. And I feel like Charlotte has lapses in that. Unless it's Becky, it's Asuka, Sasha, or whoever. That's when she's like, all right, I'm gonna show you what I can do.
Let me show up.
I'm gonna show up. And I think it has a lot to do with just the motivation.
Right. Like, again, a lot of times, like we've talked about this, I feel like there should be off seasons for WWE.
Yeah.
They have such a rigorous schedule. Even if you want to still do house shows, the TV wise, there should be a break somewhere because mentally, sometimes these wrestlers need a break. They need to step away from that.
I would argue because, and it looks like that's what they're doing anyway, just because of like low ticket sales, and I've noticed like they haven't had as many house shows like they would in the past few years. Like a lot of times, the wrestlers are like literally out every week. But I would argue that they just don't put someone on TV. Charlotte she really does not need to be on TV right now. She really doesn't.
Well, it goes back to our argument that they push who they want to push. They have an agenda
Absolutely.
They have an agenda for everybody else.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people that sit at home that's very energized, that's waiting to be on TV.
Liv Morgan, Naomi. And again,
Where's the Usos? Where's the Usos? Hashtag.
Keeping it to the women, like, and I want to tread lightly because it comes off that I bash Charlotte, and I'm not. I'm really not. And I'm not saying she's not a motivated person, because I was reading not too long ago that, how she mentioned that working with Andrade, he's trained her and taught her different things, which is great. And she's, again, one of the best women's wrestlers ever. Mm-hmm. But it goes down to when you constantly keep pushing, like, she's the most athletic woman wrestler and this and that and third, when that's not true.
Right.
That's not true. Like, Naomi is way more athletic than her. Superior. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things Charlotte cannot do that someone like Naomi can do.
Or Ember Moon.
Right. You know what I mean? But like you said, WWE pushes their agenda. Like, yo, let's program this. She's what is it? Superior, athletically superior, or whatever they say.
Athletic gifted, or whatever.
Whatever they say. Whatever. And the more you keep saying it, you know what I mean? You're gonna get programmed and be like, yeah, you know what? She is. She does this. She does it. Exactly. So when you constantly keep programming.
Right.
That you're gonna believe it, but going off that and not like trying to bash her and criticize her. I think just for her in general, I would like to see her on a break, not because of injury or just you know what I mean? And she's still working dark matches or live events. Yeah. Let us miss her and realize, yo, you know what?
Right.
She is that bitch. You know what I mean? Because again, Monday I was like, yo, I low key forgot, like, yo, Charlotte be out here when she's motivated.
And that's true. And I'll say the same thing for Becky. Like after this whole little reign that you're doing for her, let her take some time off. Because we've had an overload amount of Becky for the past year and a half now.
Which is funny because a lot of people on Twitter were like upset that she was gone for just a couple of weeks. I don't know what's the explanation as to why she hasn't been on TV.
They're saying that they don't have anything for her right now. They don't have anything.
But you see, is when
she worked the dark match this past Monday because people was like, is she pregnant? And then she wrestled. And it was like, damn, she's not pregnant.
Who said that? I don't know who said that. I think people were saying hoping she was okay and she wasn't injured. But I didn't hear anything about.
Yeah, I seen is she pregnant? And then she had the match and like, okay, she's not pregnant. Like, you know, the moment that a woman is not wrestling, they automatically think, oh, she got to be pregnant. Like, I don't understand this concept. Yeah. But yeah, she did her dark match, so she's not hurt.
Yeah.
So
I mean, taking breaks does wonders for people. It really does. You know what I mean? It just, even like with Roman, like, right? Roman was gone unfortunately because of his illness. But look, he's been back and he's doing his thing, right? And now he has the crowd support. It's very rare at this point you hear an overwhelming amount of boos, right?
Right.
Sometimes taking breaks and just not forcing someone on us helps.
Right.
And again, just to end it off with what I said earlier, let us miss her and be like, yo, yeah, you know, that's why we consider her the best. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Tag show.